Cadillac is entering the game from 2026 onwards, and they're in a heavy recruit for a duo of drivers who would be able to extract the absolute most of the auto from the primary. Get cross the standards has been set, and it looks as if there are two drivers who are standing out as the fave to land the Cadillac seat, but with Ferrari being inside the blend inside the first couple of years, and the signature of Zed as their reserve driving force, should we see a disruption in the plans of Bottas and Perez, one of the best mysteries within the beyond couple of months that it's nonetheless ongoing is Cadillac's lineup, and despite the fact that they have got plenty of time to consider it, the fluid market in Formula One modifications right away. So all in all, they won't have as a lot time as they think they have. The dreams had been stated ever considering the fact that they have been introduced as an professional competitor, from 2026 onwards, a motive force with Revel in, but additionally, with teenagers as veterans, may not paintings for the long-term photo of Cadillac. The American group is going to supply their own engines as early as 2028, and till then they are poised to use the Ferrari mixture that can best mean exact information. For their latest reserve motive force, Joe, we will get to that component later on this video. As first we're going to talk approximately the freshest potentialities that Cadel has landed their eyes on Bottas and Perez. If you consider it, we're nevertheless talking approximately the high-quality wingmen in the game, which have by no means got a risk to show themselves as leaders because of their teammates. It's no longer find it irresistible, changed into Hamilton over Sten's fault, that they have been so dominant. However, what I am pronouncing is that those two might hold loads extra performance and understanding if they had been to be targeted quantity number one drivers within the group. That is something that needs to be earned, however, going against the two of the satisfactory drivers within the International. And proving that factor is something that most effective. A handful of drivers are able to accepting as a task, and not every certainly one of them will hold it. Therefore, Cadillac will find a notable performance improve in Bottas, because from what we are looking at, proper now, the Finn doesn't have any plans to retire anytime close to soon. Moreover, he stated that he would need to remain in Formula One and land a seat as early as 2026. That is the time when Cadillac is coming into as a client crew of Ferrari. Bottas already has Revel in with Ferrari's engine, thanks to his time spent in Sabre from 2022 to 2024. And although the guidelines are going to be modern, the Revel in isn't something that you could take away out of a motive force's head if you consider it a 10-time race winner and a driving force who become a part of Mercedes's golden days from 2017 to 2021 might be the fine preference for the superstar driver of Cadillac. Yes, their aim became additionally to land an American driving force that allows you to enhance the popularity of the sport to an extra accent. However, it would not appear to be. They have got already discovered what they are seeking. Out in Cotton H-Tur, nevertheless, the modern-day Indy automobile driving force is reluctant to sign up for the sport, and stated that he would not pay an excessive amount of attention to it, declaring that if it occurs, it takes place, and there may be not anything more he can do about it. Mario Andretti has spoken approximately the kind of drivers that they are trying to signal from 2026 onwards, and while elaborating extra in this matter, he stated preferably it ought to be a person with enjoy. We are taking our time and observing the marketplace. To some extent the project is likewise my toddler, but I'm not searching out a permanent function or a process that ties me down every day. I by no means wanted to be a crew owner. I'm a racing driving force. I just need to have a domestic base in the paddock where I can live, perhaps. Mario Andretti, the director of Cadillac and the leader of this whole venture, has understood the significance of the task and understood that within the first year or they will want skilled drivers in an effort to take the team into a complicated section. An awful lot quicker than anticipated her will, without a doubt, be taken into consideration and choice for the greater photograph of the group. But maybe now not from day one, wherein drivers like Bottas and Perez would try and keep their careers alive and combat for this type of seats once Hirure turns into an F1 motive force. If you are to study Bottas' alternatives, you'll apprehend that the Finn would possibly have it a chunk more difficult to come to an agreement with Cadillac. Valerie stated that he would not need to sign veteran minimum contracts with a group on the grid, due to the fact on the present-day age. He does not want to pressure only for the sake of it, and his contract desires to make experience elaborating on his alternatives and sending a message. To Cadillac, in a very discreet manner, Bass stated, "I experienced I need an extended time period task. I want an assignment with clean goals for the next few years. I'm now not inquisitive about a one-year settlement, just to be in the sport I want. To have something strong with desires that we are able to pursue collectively of path, we nonetheless do not know what Perez desires from his destiny, but thinking about the reality that his options are restricted due to the values he brings to the grid, there might be a scenario in which he will accept anything simply to show that he is nonetheless tons better than humans think he's, and that the 2024 Red Bull spell turned into, in simple terms, right down to the car's performance, which we particularly doubt. But if we're to position him on a size scale, both Bottas and Perez have their execs and cons. However, it looks as if the salary goes to be a chunk extra closer to Bass's facet, because of his non-public experience with Mercedes, and the range of wins and podiums he has in the game. Moreover, he has in no way ignored out on a Q3 look, at the same time as being inside the most dominant vehicle on the grid, which at the same time as you think could be expected from a driver. In his role, you'll discover a one-of-a-kind answer in case you checked out Perez's qualifying record, though the state of affairs has weighed in a chunk extra in the direction of Perez's side inside the closing couple of years because of its experience. With Red Bull, which whilst being defined as mediocre, is still plenty better than the only Bottas hand with Sabre. As I said in advance on this video, it's not like you may delete expertise out of a motive force's head. And now that Bottas is going to paintings for Mercedes for a full year, it's really worth declaring that he's going to, in all likelihood, be lower back in form very quickly, but he hasn't competed at the front in 3 complete seasons. And while Perez has been within the mediocre level all through the whole lot of 2024 minus the primary 5 races, the popularity he has in America and the sponsorship raise he's going to bring to the group are something we cannot flip a blind eye to. Perez himself stated that he's no longer carried out with the sport, and whilst he would not have an energetic role right now, he and his father Antonio are actively running on a return plan, which does appear to make a variety of experience in case you were to study Cadillac's contemporary improvement of occasions, a huge coins inflow from Carlos Slim, as well as the groups that used to assist Red Bull may want to neutralize any harm that Perez might do to the crew in terms of crashes or negative results, which whilst hurting the wearing code of F1 is the cruel manner that this global operates in, no longer to mention that Paris is a part of why the Mexican Grand Prix is still on the calendar, and his recognition at some point of the whole lot of the United States is a massive factor as to why the GPS are complete with spectators. I'm not announcing that he's the handiest reason why the recognition within the US has been as much as the level. It is way to Perez simplest, but in case you have been to investigate it, a chunk nearer the Mexican flag could be proper up there with the USA one in phrases of presence. But what we started to discuss in advance in this video may want to gift a critical threat for both Perez and Bottas, and this is the presence of Z. The Chinese driver has been perceived as arguably the worst driver in 2024, if we are to ignore Sargent, who turned into sacked within the center of the season. And despite the fact that he scored 4 points in the ending ranges of the season, Joe was constantly outperformed by way of Bottas. However, he's young, he brings loads of cash to the table, and he's a prodigy of Ferrari. The Maranello crew will deliver Cadillac with engines of their first couple of years, and which means they may paintings on a cope with the American group, which can see Joe acquire a 2D chance in his game. In the end, we must not forget about that. The Chinese motive force is one of the rare freshmen to score a factor in their debut, becoming a member of elite institution, of drivers which have executed this feat. So to add to that sponsorship money that he'll deliver from the buyers and the enjoy he has in Formula One Z, is a precise candidate for the Cadillac seat. If the American crew seems like neither Bottas nor Perez suits their standards, with all of this in thoughts, who do you watched will suit up for?